This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This your boy Black Magus, and finally, gonna discuss Game of Thrones, pretty much the season finale, and just overall the whole show and my thoughts about this last season and how it ended. So let's get to the last episode, which I was just so excited for, I have to say, because I knew it was going to break the world spirit. This whole season has pretty much been all about people not getting what they want. And I hate to say this, I'm kind of being a dick, not an internet dick, because it's a difference between being a true dick and an internet dick. Internet dicks definitely do it just for the attention. I do it because I just find it humorous that people were expecting to get some type of perfect ending. The thing is, no one was going to get a perfect ending. I didn't get a perfect ending, but I come to expect that from media and art, because especially when it comes to TV shows, books, things like that, it's very, very hard to please everybody. You're not going to please everybody, especially if you have a vision, you have an idea, or you have a plan. Your plan may not work right, and love it or hate it, the plan is the plan, and the plan should always be the plan. It's why I find it hilarious that these people feel like doing this petition to get the show reshot for the last season. Like, seriously, take a step back, people, and look at how ridiculous you look by doing that. People have lost all sense of reality to me. Or maybe reality has just been warped so much by social media that people really do feel like it's an obligation for everything to be catered and molded into the shape of whatever their image is of it. It doesn't work that way. I guarantee you, what you like, someone else is not going to like, and it's not going to be perfect. And all the million people or however number it is, who signed that petition, all of you are going to butt heads and conflict on what should be right. It's ludicrous. Stop it. But yeah, it was already a hard task to lean into, because one, the books left a lot of loose ends, and they couldn't go with the books straight on. That's why they consulted with George R.R. Martin, and he kind of guided them to the path that he felt like they should take with it. By the way, again, listen to what I said. They were counseled by George R.R. Martin, and he kind of guided them to the direction in which he would like to take it. He gave them the outline of what the characters are, how he thinks they're going to end up, what he thinks would work best for them. And they took it and was like, fine, we'll construct the story off of that. So, know this. Even though George R.R. Martin said that the books are going to be different, this was an idea of his that we saw on screen. Just remember that. And remember that this is the guy who's been taking ages to write these books. I didn't even start reading the books until the fourth one had dropped a couple of years before. No, this fourth one actually dropped 5 years before, because I remember I was working with a coworker, and he was telling me, yeah, it's been 5 years waiting for the latest book that dropped. Oh, gosh, when did that book drop? That book's been out for a while, too. Jeez, he takes forever. But before the last book dropped, someone had mentioned to me a year or two before it dropped that he had been working on it for almost 5 years or something ridiculous. And I was like, wow, what takes him so long? And they were like, we don't fucking know, but he's old and he's going to die. So I was like, let me check this out, because it sounds like the type of story that I would like. I'm into the fantasy stuff. And I dug it, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that I thought it was perfect and that they've bastardized it with the TV show. No. I think in a lot of ways, the TV show has fixed some of the things, um, and I think they also opened themselves to new holes. Um, One of the things that I always thought was the biggest hole for them to fall in was probably the Night King, in hindsight, because the Night King was built up as this it's such an omnious presence, this thing that everybody should be feared and should be worried about, and that was just this huge fucking undeniable force. We all got sucked into it. And it's funny because they killed him off early in the last season, and people got fucking mad, and it was like, well, yeah, they had to take this thing off the board, because what happened with the show, I think, for me, again, it's not that I didn't enjoy the show, but one of the things that I always found that was going to be problematic was the Night King, because he took you away from what the show was actually supposed to be about and what the books was actually be about. Because, if you're listening to this by now, I'm sorry I didn't preface it earlier, but spoilers for book and show. Hopefully I remember to put the bumper up this time. But, the Night King's not a thing in the book. The Walking Dead, the Whites, they're around, but they're not really a big focus of his writing. A lot of his attention is focused on, the crown and getting the pieces together, pulling people towards things. I would say Daenerys, of course, gets the lion's share of the attention. Jon's gotten a pretty healthy dose of attention, and so is Arya. Sansa gets significant attention. Her and Littlefinger. Tyrion got definitely a ton of attention. But so does a lot of people. It's similar to the show. There's a lot of people, but maybe double or triple the amount of people, because you get things we didn't get to find out the Manderley part in this, with them trying to get in on things and negotiate and stuff like that. We don't really delve deep into Dorne in the TV show. Dorne's a lot more complicated. It's not as quick as you think. It's not just about the Sand Snakes just wanting revenge. There's a lot of things going on in Dorne that's crazy. Even Dany's part is a lot more complicated and a lot more drawn out than you could imagine. There's so much going on, and there's so many people that are at the point of where they got in the show. Again, I think they did some things better by tying up a lot of loose ends, because they took enough pieces off the board. Jesus Christ. Put it this way. At this point in the books, the only people that we are for sure dead are Ned Stark, Beric Dondarn. He's dead, yes. The guy who couldn't die in the show is actually dead at this point in the book. Of course, Dany's brother, Khal Drogo, is dead as well. Let us see. Tywin Lannister, of course, is dead. Joffrey is dead. Robb Stark, of course, the Red Wedding definitely did go down. And as far as I can remember, those are the only people dead. We think Jon is dead. Jon has not been resurrected, the last I remember. I don't think they resurrect him at the end of that last book. I know he died in the book before that, and it left off with him dying. But yeah, Jon, we think he may be dead, maybe not dead. Oh yeah, well, the Viper is dead. I mean, he did get his skull bashed in. God damn it. Seeing that on screen, by the way, visually speaking, they did a tremendous job of capturing certain moments and doing things. Yeah, I know the CGI wasn't always on point and things like that, but the way they were able to capture moments in that show, especially stuff that you had read and you got a reaction from reading, the biggest thing had to been when the Viper got his head crushed by the mountain. Like, seriously, I didn't think they were gonna do it, and they legit did that shit. And I was like, the same thing. Like, holy shit, are you fucking serious? I have to say that was probably the most mad moment I had in the books and in the show, because it was just like, yo, you had this motherfucker. Why'd you do that? Why'd you talk? Like, just kill this bitch and go on and fuck the like Lannisters up. Like, shit. Like, god damn it. That was the Viper's still a dick for that shit. But no, they did a very good job of capturing the big moments that they had on board. When it came to big moments that they had to make up themselves, I think they did really well for the most part. Just capturing the scene, the emotion, the drama, the intensity of it, things like that. They did a really, really good job. Characters, I thought they developed the characters well. And I know people are probably sitting up here yelling at me at this point, and I was like, no, wait a minute and think about this. All during season 8, people been like, character development, the character development is off. No, it wasn't. They had set these characters up the way they were going to set them up. Probably by season, I would say, 6. Like, I think Sansa is probably the last one who was actually finally kind of completed once she got her moment with Ramsay. But for the most part, these characters were set in the direction and going where they were going to go. Like, long ago, we knew Arya was going to go train with the many-faced god and become an assassin. And she'd always been driven by, like, one, wanting to prove herself, 2, wanting to establish herself as different. She said she was never going to be a princess, and she just wanted to be what she wanted to be. She was always going to be a very, like, forceful, stubborn, willful, passionate person. And once she found what she felt was a calling, she dove right into it, and she would have nothing of it, anything, you know. Yeah, she was a Stark, but she had nothing to do with nobility. You know, you got that. You were established in the first episode when she told her dad, like, yo, I'm not gonna be a fucking princess. I'm gonna be, like, you know, whatever the fuck I want to be. Like, chill out, dad. You know. And this is when she was like, what, 9? You know, again, Sansa, you know, she had to learn. She had to, like, take some lumps, but she developed into pretty much her mom, which, you know, you kind of start to see as she started to grow. Once she got away from Joffrey and, you know, she was with Littlefinger and her cousin and things like that, you know, she was kind of starting to grow a thick skin because she was around a lot of craziness and dealing with a lot of shit, and she bore up through it and, you know, learned from it. Littlefinger was able to help teach her, even though he was using her, and she learned to, like, recognize that, and she got the courage, the strength, you know, to be just like her mom. That's where she was headed. Jon, all y'all screaming about Jon should have been king. No, he shouldn't. Jon never wanted the king, and that's the thing that bothers me the most about. I think the complaints is like everybody was like, "Yo, why didn't Jon just take the crown?" He has said this is stuff that's been established well on, if you really pay attention to the characters. He established long ago that he did not want any power. He did not want to trade off his bloodline. He just wanted to be, like, loved and respected by his father. He wanted, you know, Catelyn to fucking back and stop treating him like it was his fault that he was born. You know, he was brought into this world unwillingly. Don't hate on me for that. I'm just trying to be here and be a part of the family, you know. And the coldness that he was treated, you know, he was just like, yo, you know what? I'm better off if I just go someplace where I can just be my own guy, like, live my life, do my duty, and chill. And that's why he went to the Night Watch, and that's why every time someone tried to pull him into something, he was just like, yo, I don't really want to do this. Yeah, I get it. You guys respect me. You feel like I'm charismatic and good leader, and I try to do the best I can, and I try to do the best for everybody. I get it. You like that about me. But fuck, I do not want to do this. He didn't want to be the leader of the Night Watch. He did not want to go and infiltrate the wildlings, but he was such a duty bound person and such a loyal guy that he was like, sure, you know what? I'll do it. And he would go and he'd do a good job, and he give us all in it, and it would just raise people's admiration of him even more, because he was just a very honest, just honest, to a T, honest, loyal, hardworking, and selfless. And it's funny because I hate to say it this way, but I kind of understand John, because when you try to be that person, or you are that person, it's not even a try thing. At some point in your life, you realize that this is just the person that you are, and he realized as the show went on, this is just the person that I am. And he was happy with being the person that he was. He didn't want power, he didn't want fame, he didn't want royalty, he didn't want all that. He just wanted to be John, and he wanted people to just like him because he's John, not because he's a great leader. And damn sure didn't want them to love him because he was the rightful heir to the throne. That was the last thing. I honestly swear to God, if they would have elected him king, he probably would have jumped out of a window just to keep himself from doing it, because I don't want that shit. No, knowing him, he would have did it. He would have just fucking became a broken, unhappy, bitter man. Everybody else would have been happy, including you fans. You would have loved it if he would have been king. But the truth of the matter is, for the character, being king was the worst thing in the world, because that's not what he wanted out of life. He just wanted to be just Jon Snow and find his place in the world. That's all. He didn't want to be put in a place that he didn't feel comfortable in. So it always was like that for him. Danny hoodwinked everybody the most. And a lot of people are mad with Tyrion's plan, but you should celebrate how they did Tyrion, especially within the final episode, where he pretty much broke everything down to you guys. Because he straight up told Jon, look, sure, we all loved her. We all followed her because we all believed that she was doing it. But she's always been this crazed killer, because everything in her way, she's pretty much either told them, you either lay down or get put down, And if you didn't lay down willingly, she was going to put the fire to you, literally. And she did that to everybody who had a problem. And like Tyrion said, the thing is, up until now, we never chose to recognize this, because everybody pretty much that she killed so far had been people who we agreed with, as far as her killing them, slavers and, things like that, oppressive noblemen and stuff like that. It's well, yeah, and the thing is, her whole drive and motivation was always that crown. It was to return home and be, back in control of the kingdom, which was her birthright. She wanted her fucking birthright, and that was an obsessive thing to her. They called back. Got a call back to a speech that she had with Tyrion when Tyrion first met her, and he was trying to convince her, yo, you'd be better off staying here. Think about it. All these people fucking love you over here in Westeros. You pretty much vanquish the worst of the worst here. You can build and establish the type of world you here. You don't need to go over there. It's a bunch of fucking assholes and degenerates over there in Westeros. I should know. I'm the son of King Asshole and Degenerate. My whole family's a fucking nightmare, and they're the ones that you're gonna have to come at. You really want those problems? Nah, you got a good life here. Stay. And she was like, no, I want that crown. I want the fucking crown. She wanted the fucking throne. She didn't care about all of that shit that she was talking. Because think about it. Yeah, Westeros is bad. They had horrible leadership, kind of similar like the United States. But do we need somebody to come in here and to just like kill off everything and then take over and say like, now I'm gonna do things in my vision? No, because say what you want, like the structure, the foundation of our country is sound. It's just the leadership at the top is fucked right now. We just need to find a way to change that. It was the same thing with Westeros. But her thing was, I want to like, I'm not just going to take the crown. Anybody who doesn't agree with anything I say, I'm going to fuck them up. It wasn't just about like restoring order or like, you know, getting over there and coming to terms with these people, because that's the thing, she never fucking was really willing to come to terms with anybody. I cannot remember a moment when she was willing to actually truly negotiate with somebody. You know what I mean? Like everybody who was a major opposition in her way leading up to her coming to Westeros, again, you either lay down or get put down. There was no fucking no real negotiation, no real heartfelt discussion or anything like that. She was Daenerys, you know, Targaryen, mother of dragons. The fuck you want? You know, that was her whole fucking attitude. Her whole fucking demeanor, her whole fucking attitude was, I am Daenerys. I am going to get what I want. And if you're not with the program, then you need to get the fuck on or you're going to get rolled over. Make your choice. You know, she didn't even give him the option to get the fuck on. She was like, nah, I'm going to just have to get rid. And it all culminated in her speech to Jon when she was like, yo, if they don't like the way that we do things, then we're going to make them see it. And if not, get rid of them. Fuck it. If you don't understand what I'm trying to do and you don't agree with what I'm trying to do, you need to get the fuck off the planet. Like, not just go somewhere else. Nah, I'm putting you out of your misery, so to speak. Because I can't have you out here trying to stop my shit. You know what I mean? There was no real compromise in her. Never. Never. Like, any compromise that she did take, it was generally just her, like, outfoxing somebody to get exactly what she wants, not necessarily to bargain and come to an agreement. It was like, yo, I'm gonna play this role real quick, and then once you nice and comfortable, I'm gonna fucking snatch the shit from you. Just like, I mean, again, look at how she got them sullied. She played the role really, really well, and once she got what she wanted and made the trade, she's like, oh, they're mine now? Oh, kill this motherfucker here. And I'm taking my dragon back. Fuck you. You know what I mean? So, but again, we cheered it. We like screamed. We loved her. Why? Because that person was an asshole. He was a slave trader. You know, me and Sully were people who had their dicks cut off and after they were taken from their families and trained up to be murderers. You know, like mindless murderers. You know, and yeah, she did some nice things like Missandei. You know, having her as her advisor, even though she didn't really take advice from her. Taking the Unsullied and telling them like, yo, you're people now, you have individual names and you should think, and I'm gonna make you like the top of my army and stuff like that. You know, she did some nice things, but she also did some very bad things. Like the Dothraki, all she did was cultivate like their fucking nomadic wild ways. Like, she promised that they were going to go and they were going to be the greatest like force and take over the world and all that. And that's kind of what the Dothraki do. They roamed around, they conquered, they pillaged, they fought, you know, and partied. Like, they were just, that was just their nature. And she used their nature against them. Like, seriously, like, when they got killed in the beginning of the battle with Winterfell, when she sent them there, I was like really, really sad and kind of pissed inside because it's like, yo, she's just sending them to die. And it's sad because thinking about it more now after saying that, it's like, yeah, she pretty much used the Dothraki as a straight up tool. Like, yeah, she fell in love with Drogo and she came to understand their ways and stuff like that. partially because as a Targaryen, she all about the like fucking like taking shit and fucking shit up. So of course that should be appealing to her. Um, but yeah, she used them the most out of anybody. Like I feel like she did Grey Worm, and I think one of the problems with the way it ended with Grey Worm, him going back to Mistros and going to Nath, where Missandei was from in particular, and the way that he settled with things, and the way he was like he was upset, but he didn't go too far. Um, I think part of him came to understand, and I wish they would have like maybe had a real conversation with him in the midst. That would be one of the things. Like if I things that I would say that I would like to have seen quote unquote changed or done a little differently was that when the confrontation between him and John, when him and John were discussing killing the people, I would have liked saying having John ask him like, is this really how you want things to be? And stuff like that, to get him to like kind of like put the thought in his head, because I always felt like during the like fight to take King's Landing, when he looked back at John, I always felt like it was a mix of anger and it was a mix of like, shut the fuck up. I know what I'm doing is wrong. Just shut the fuck up, John. Like I always felt like Grey Worm, he did this because he had to, but I never was always sure if he really wanted to. Like, I understand that he kind of wanted to because he was upset that Missandei was dead, but I was like, did he really want to do this shit? He just didn't ever seem like really committed to anything he did after she died. To that point, and I think he was just tired, and I think again, if they would have showed it more and expressed it, I think that's why he was just like, yo, yeah, I want Tyrion and Jon dead, but do I really want them dead? Because goddamn, she just killed a lot of people after she talked a lot of good shit about protecting people, for real. Like I understand it. I'm just more mad that I lost the woman I love more than anything. And yeah, I admire Inspector, and yeah, she did raise me the fuck up. Like, Danny did take him from where he was and raise him the fuck up. But telling him and making him be into a person who has independent thought, like, I think part of him was like, you know what? I don't have to be loyal to anybody anymore. I don't have to be loyal to anyone but me and my brothers. And let's just go build the life that we want, and do for us. Do the things that make us happy now. Like, fuck it. Like, yeah, I would love to have that moment to like stick a knife in John's gut and all that, but you know what? It's not worth it. And I think he was mad and he didn't like it. And I think all of his like stuff culminated into, fuck this place, fuck these people. I'm just glad that now I can go and like live my life. I just wish I could have like lived it happy. And I think that was part of his drive to see Tyrion and Jon suffer, was because, I'm sitting here suffering, I suffered even though I may know that what Danny did was fucked. I'm suffering because I lost the person who gave me my freedom. I've lost the woman I love. I've lost like hundreds, thousands of my fucking brothers. All I had to know is this loss since I've been fucking with you people. I'm out this bitch. Fuck y'all. Get the fuck out of my face. So I feel like that's why he didn't like press the matter, because he was just like, yeah, he could have pressed the matter and it would just led to another spiral of war and fighting and shit like that, and he really wouldn't have had nothing to fight for but just trying to quell his anger for his losses. So I'm glad to see they let him just go to Nanth and not have him on some fuck shit and die unnecessarily. I was glad to see him survive. He was definitely probably the most like stable character in many ways on the show, because they all of them had like serious major issues and serious things that they had to grow beyond and to understand. I think him and Jon. I think Jon was stable in a sense. His instability was the fact that his loyalty and his like nature to always want to just like, regardless of how he felt, do the right thing, kind of just like it fucks with you. Again, I understand that feeling. That shit really, really fucks with you, but you don't want to be different because that's not you. Then you're not being yourself. And he was always true to himself, even though being himself was fucking annoying. And it annoyed, again, as someone who feels like I do the same type of shit, you gotta know that shit annoyed me to absolutely no fucking end, because I don't need to see someone reflect some of the things that I do that people tell me I need to stop doing, that they think like I'm stupid for doing. Like calling him stupid, I'm basically just looking at myself in the mirror like, yeah, it's stupid. In some instances, like it would just fucking but yeah, man. Oh man, yeah, they were like, so again, going to the character development thing, y'all talking about like there was enough character development in this last season. It's the final season. If you don't understand who these people are, if you didn't understand that Jamie, you know, for all the good that he did, is still like a fucking bastard. He never said he changed. He never like pretended that he never did anything he did. He felt bad, but he knew who he was. And that speech he gave Brienne after they had sex, he was just like, yo, I'm still in love with it. I know, like, I just can't like fuck you up, girl. Like, I shouldn't have did this. He knew, like, when he slept with her, he was like, yo, I'm gonna fuck over this shit, because this is what I do. I'm a fuck up. I'm a total fuck up, and I'm a fuck up for her. And she's the only person who, no matter how much I fuck up, how many shitty she treats me, how shitty I treat her, we always get back together, and we always got each other's back. Like, she's, you know, for all the fuck shit that she's giving me, she's also the only person to give me like acceptance for who and what I am, truly, you know. And that's a strong thing, to be accepted, to be understood. Again, I'm probably projecting some of the things, but to be understood in a certain way, it's just powerful, especially when it's with someone that you love. Now, I wouldn't want to necessarily do that with a relative, especially not my twin sister, because that's some nasty ass fucking shit. But I get the vibe of the relationship with them, so it made sense, you know. It totally made sense. Like things like that, they just, it's all it. If you just take a moment and not think about what you want or how you feel like they should be, or, you know, just focus in on the things that you liked only, and not the things that you kind of forgot because you didn't really care for them, you'll realize that everything that they did with these characters, for the most part, was on point. Even Bran, people were mad that Bran got the crown. Bran didn't want the crown because he said he never won it. So I heard people say, well, how are you going to say that you never won anything, but then pull the swerve? He didn't pull a swerve. He became the Three-Eyed Raven, which meant that he could tell the future and things like that, and see things that were coming, and see into the past and all that. And he knew, like, this is where it was. That's what it's funny, because the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, 1 in 14 million. That's what Doctor Strange told Tony Stark in Infinity War. And then we get to Endgame, and he was like, yo, so is this the one? And he was like, I can't tell you, or else it may not happen. That's pretty much what Bran was. That's why Bran kept saying all the shit, like, you were where you were supposed to be. This is what is supposed to happen. Like, hey, that's why he had that calm, because he knew it was supposed to lead that way. So when he accepted, and he said that, like, you know, why do you think I always came this way? It's like, yeah, this is just the role that we have to play. Seriously, it has to be kind of weird to know where life is headed and what's to come. I thought about that, and at first I was like, wow, he's so calm and peaceful. Maybe that's what knowing is. Because I know I've heard things where, like, people, when they knew they were going to die, they just, like, you know, they had their moments where they were, like, sad, angry, afraid, but then you just get this like peace of knowing that my time is in the air. I've done hopefully everything I could done, and you know what, this is life. I'm just gonna go. He had that type of peace, peaceful, like someone who's resigned to their fate. But I kind of prefer the chaos of not knowing. It hurts. It's fearful, but it's also life. And that's the thing. Y'all all getting mad at him. It's like, he's playing his role. He's playing the role that he's supposed to play. And like it or not, he was the most sensible choice. I know a lot of people, again, shouldn't have killed Danny, should have had Danny be it. Sansa should have just took it from everybody. Fuck, why didn't you just give it to John? He's the rightful heir. And I know people laugh at the whole, like, he has the best story, but I think what people miss when Tyrion said that was not that he thought that his story was the most entertaining or was the one that would catch people's eye. It was the best story to relate. It was like, think about this. This kid, like, never pushed, never, like, did anything. He got hurt. He kept on. He survived. He became a better person. He became a stronger person. He became this mystical being, which is always an attractive thing in storytelling. Like, he's this grand, like, wizardry type person, that's so wise and, things like that, can do all these wonderful things and always uses his powers for good and stuff like that. It's a easily romanticized way of looking at things. It's just like, compare it to politics. We look at Donald Trump as, most of us look at Donald Trump as a disgusting, horrible figure. But you get somebody like Pete Buttigieg, who's, very articulate, very poised, seems to be very, passionate and compassionate as well, thoughtful and all that. And it's like, well, we want to put this guy up on our shoulders. He may not have the best policies. He may not have had the best experience, everything. You have more experience, more polished politicians out there. But damn it, if his, like, story don't attract you more. Because, put Jon on the throne. Oh, he's another Targaryen. Well, you've seen what happens when a Targaryen comes to this place. Every fucking time. Targaryens do nothing. It doesn't matter, like, how he was this heroic figure. Jon would have had to still work to establish that much harder. People would have, like, there would have been resistance to Jon because he's a fucking Targaryen. Not only that, he's a person from the north. He's never been in charge. He would have raised a lot of questions and issues. Like, they would have accepted him because of his bloodline and he's the rightful heir. But it would have been a lot of salt and a lot of fucking, like, bullshit going on with Jon on the throne. Dany, of course, would have ruled as a tyrant, and people would have been, like, fearful of her and rebellious against her. She would have had to destroy the whole north. She would have probably had to destroy Dorne. She probably would have had to, like, destroy Dragonstone eventually because, Gendry appreciates you giving him the crown, but Lord, she's only goes so far, especially when you're killing people that he likes and respects, and he don't want to see that shit happen because he's a decent The decent people will stand up and want to say something, and as soon as they say something, they're gonna get that fire. So, she would have been just like, it would have been a chaotic fucking rule. Like, y'all really want to elect Trump again for another 4 years? Type of situation. Would have been the Danny thing, I think. Sansa didn't want it and wouldn't have done a good job because all she cares about is fucking North. She just wanted to take care of her people. That's all she wanted because she's seen what the rest of the world has to offer in the show, and she don't like that shit. It's been bad to her, and that's not what she wants for her life. She just wants to be with her people, make sure her people are fine, and live her life and be left the fuck alone. That kind of is the theme of the Starks too. Just leave me the fuck alone. please, you know. But that's how she wanted to be left the fuck alone. So she getting just the North being an independent entity was perfect because she gets to be left the fuck alone. Um, you know, I've heard some people say Arya, like, yo, again, did this chick not tell y'all, I do not want to be any type of royalty. I am just Arya, and I'm going to be the Arya that I want to be. She's the Arya she wants to be. That's why she left and was like, yo, I'm just going to go travel and see what's out there because I don't care about none of this shit. Like, I love y'all and all that, and maybe I'll see y'all again, but, yo, I'm not that sit here and like play politics type chick. Y'all got me fucked up with that. I'm gonna go out here and see what there is to do in the world, and if there's right some wrongs to right, I'll right them and whatever. But I'm gonna keep just traveling, doing me. I'll holla. That was Arya. You know, so you wouldn't have got that. It's like after that, after the names that I've named, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna let Edmund what's his name, Tully, come up and talk about how like he's a veteran of 2 wars and all that shit? Man, sit your dumb ass down. You know, Sansa was right for telling me that. Are you gonna get somebody from the IRA? The IRA would have probably tried to push what's his name, Rob, her cousin, Sansa's cousin, who was breastfeeding until the age of like 15, 16. You know what I mean? Was he like what you wanted? No, because the IRA people were just like, fuck that shit up. So no, you didn't want them. You don't know what's going on with the new leader, Dorne. Dorne is in chaos after all their leadership got fucked up after, you know, the Sand Snakes and Oberon's women killed the rightful leader and all of that, and just put that place in upheaval and all that. Highgarden had no leadership, so what the fuck were you gonna do with that? Yeah, nah. It went to where it needed to go to get to kind of like slow walk themselves to the suggestion that Sam made that everybody laughed at, which was democracy. You know, it's like, at least like if you're not gonna accept whole democracy, we'll do at least partial democracy. You at least get a, like, you know, small vote, and then let's see how things progress from there. Because right now everything's fucked up. This land needs to have a peaceful solution to all this, so people can get on with their day-to-day lives. And that's the thing. This decision wasn't like, I want to just establish like what it's going to be forever and now. It's like, let's put things in order right now, and then we can work on like developing this stuff, because we will have the type of person who has no ties, won't have any children. So when the time comes to come and get a new king, we can like clear out at least, you know, patriarchy and monarchy in the system a bit, and like we can at least choose our leader and go from there. Maybe then we start to develop bigger like seats and things like that, have more people consider stuff. Like, was it the perfect solution? No, but it was the best solution that was on the table. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. Like, I know I heard someone say like, yo, you pretty much just gone back to having kings and having things the way it was. And it's like, well, it was going to be that way if Dany was in charge. It was going to be that way if Jon was in charge. At least you have somebody in charge who, doesn't want it, but doesn't want to shirk the responsibility. Because having someone like Dany who just, you know, her whole being was getting that was a mistake. Having somebody like Jon who was going to be just like this reluctant leader, you probably would have got another, Robert Baratheon, just fucking like miserable, fucking disgusting human being. Like, just like, yo, piss off, y'all. I'm just don't want to be bothered with this shit. I thought I wanted it, but I didn't. I hate it. Yo, that was Robert Baratheon. He just really want that shit. Yo, so again, not a perfect solution, but the most sensible solution on the table. And I think that's probably what's bothering people, because you got a sensible solution to things. You didn't get a flamboyant, over the top like moment to get this. It ended with exposition, which people really hate. And it's like, yo, I get it, y'all. I get it. Everybody wants to some big bang and flourish and all that. That's not how life works. But yeah, hey, that's how people want TV shows to always work. That's why ending a series is always the hardest part, I think, because you're never going to stick the landing the way that people think you should, no matter what. I can't think of anything that once it ended the way that people want it. I've known, like, there have been things, like, I've been told people were mad at the ending of Breaking Bad. Sorry, I've never seen Breaking Bad. Don't kill me, people. But I heard people were mad then, and, like, now they're just like, yeah, nah, it was fine. I heard somebody say the same thing about Seinfeld. I remember the Seinfeld heat. That heat was fucking wild. People were so pissed at how that ended. But people are more accepting of it now that they've had to, like, chance to calm down and realize, okay, I didn't get what I want, and I'm never going to get what I want. So now that I have gotten over my disappointment, once I see this again, I'll just be like, okay, it fit for what it was. And I think this is what this episode is going to do too. It's going to fall in that same category of all these other shows that people thought were so great and wonderful and flawless, and just people will come back to it in the future and be like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't the best ending, but it was an ending. Yeah, it was decent. It fit. I can live with it. I really think that's what's going to happen with this. But overall, I enjoyed Game of Thrones. I didn't realize it was 11 years. Y'all, you have to realize they had to end that shit. 11 fucking years? Yo, kudos to them, to the cast, the writers, producers, everybody who worked on that show. God damn it, you dedicated like a sixth or seventh of your life to one thing. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy. And it's like, yeah, I know HBO said they could have did a few more shows. No, these people want to work on other stuff. They want to do other things, People don't always want to do the same thing. You get tired. I think that's another thing we forget. Like, yeah, these are human beings, and they do get tired, just like we get tired. And they don't want to do anything forever. Some people do get that way, and they were like, we're fine with doing this forever. Some people don't. They didn't want to do it forever. They're going to do some Star Wars stuff and some other stuff. They're just going to go and do other things. And hopefully we will get the ending of the books, because, goddammit, George R.R. Martin is probably going to die soon. It's going to be another Robert Jordan situation. Then we'll see, and I really do believe, again, that when we get the ending of the book series, we're going to be just as satisfied, if not more, because, again, so many people alive. Catelyn Stark is still alive, y'all, in the books. Think about this. Catelyn Stark is alive. I won't go into the details of how or why, but she's alive, and she's out there doing significant stuff in the world. That's how real it is in the book. So, I mean, it is what it is. Great series. Glad I was able to watch it. Enjoyed even the fuckery of when they did some fuckery. Like, seriously, it was just very, very entertaining all around, and it's something that we're not going to see again unless we watch the reruns. So we can't be all. There's no more appointment TV for you if you only watch Game of Thrones. I personally will be moving on to stuff like Watchmen. I definitely want to see that and see how they carry on that story. Since it's supposed to follow the events of the movie, I believe, the movie and comic book, I believe. So yeah, I'm really curious about that. And there's other stuff to watch on HBO. I ain't canceled my HBO subscription yet. Maybe, I don't know. I may cancel it now, until Watchmen come on. I don't know. I'll make that decision. But yeah, stuff like that. It's other stuff out there to get. There's stuff I need to catch up on too. So I'm happy. You'll be happy. The world will be okay. You'll be happy if you don't get a reshot season. You'll be happy if you don't get the prequel that's been said to be being done. But who knows? Maybe it won't. No sequels to anybody, they said. So suck it up. It's over. It's okay. All things come to an end. Sometimes you just really need to let it go. I mean, I'm good with that. But then I'm also the person who's not upset and angry over not getting what they want. So it's easy for me to say that, you know. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, woo. Thank you for my Game of Thrones TED Talk. For listening to my Game of Thrones TED Talk, people. Jesus Christ, 50 minutes and counting. Anyway, just go ahead and sound on the video. Let me know what you think. Call me an idiot for my thoughts and all that. You know, I appreciate the quote unquote criticism in advance. And yeah, so with that, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak Megas, and I'm out, y'all. Deuces.